Rafter P Construction is the design-build contractor for all of your construction needs. Quality and customer satisfaction will always remain our top priority. The American dream has inspired the Rafter P team to push to be community leaders and support the local youth because that is our future. Let's now talk with the founder and owner, Brad Pryor.
I think a lot of phone calls that we're getting in Greenville and you're getting in Decatur is the market going to calm down? Are prices going to go down? Why is it so high? Is it going to hold its value in the future? All that kind of stuff. I mean, what are you hearing?
No, I get that a lot. First question is, what's pricing doing? Is it starting to go back down? Is it staying consistent? And I think right now the biggest way that I can answer that is I don't know if it's going to go back down. I don't think anybody does. Yes, pricing has gone up in the last year and a half with everything that's happened, but right now it's kind of holding consistent. I make a joke typically. I'm not getting calls every other day from my subs saying, hey, we're having another price increase. So right now I'm seeing a little bit of consistency, but that is definitely one of the things that everybody asks whenever they call in is what is pricing doing at this point in time. So
right, and if it's going to hold its value, I mean, we don't have a crystal ball. Right. So there's such thing as inflation. There's things going on in the world that we can't control, but I know they are making appraisal. So, I mean, if bank and institutes like that are standing behind what they're selling, then that's the best information I can give anybody. If they're appraising your values there.
Yeah.
So, and then what are you seeing when we're talking about inconsistencies? When you're sending out bids or budgets, what are you seeing that's not consistent compared to us?
As far as our contractors or with other contractors?
Other contractors. Well,
other builders.
Right. I mean, some of your most frustrating phone calls I hear when you're ranting and raving about something is I don't know how they're giving these $100 square foot prices or, what have you. What are you seeing?
Well, I mean, people will call in and ask, certain pricing of shops or houses or whatever the project may be, and when we give them a price, some people's first response is, oh my goodness, I talked to this builder and they told me it was this. Well, I think the biggest deal with us is we have true data. We do a lot of stuff on the front end. I think that's the biggest thing that I can explain to customers is we're not basing off of a budget. We're not giving you a budget and that's what you're signing a contract on. We're getting hard bids. So I think as far as the price gap from us and other builders, it's because they're just gonna do cut cost plus throughout the build process where we're gonna do a fixed contract on those pricing. So I think the biggest thing that we can educate customers on is just qualifying their builder, qualifying whoever they're talking to. Even if they don't use us for their build, make sure they're asking the right questions. Hey, am I gonna be locked in at this price? Or are you gonna come back and charge me $40,000 worth of change orders because you had material prices go up throughout the build process?
Right. I think having two showrooms, so to speak, one in Decatur, one in Greenville, we actually walk our clients around before and kind of get their mind wrapped around what is their taste. So when we do give them a budget, it's realistic. And I think another big thing that we do is we don't take any money down on plans until I go do a site visit.
Correct.
Because those are the big variables, is the infrastructure. And we try to weigh in enough of that infrastructure on our budget so when we go to a site visit, we're not coming back with, oh my God, it's $30,000 more worth of stuff. We kind of go off that data we're getting and an average so people get a realistic budget up front.
Yeah.
But, going back to the builders, as being bid against us or giving prices against us, things I would check is, I always say, if they haven't built anything past 5 years, most likely they don't know enough about this.
Right.
Especially when it comes to barn dominion, because the way they're being built and all the new energy codes and stuff, it's almost, if you're learned, there's no book to tell you how to do this. I don't think you have enough experience in 5 years to figure it out. And if they have, then I would go back to, go talk to clients that they built 5 to 10 years ago. Don't talk to the clients they built a year ago.
Yeah.
Because that way you can see how they take care of their warranties, take care of business after the build's over with.
Everything's holding up over time. And then going kind of further into interviewing your builder and what you're going to do, just figuring out what they're using, making sure that we're comparing apples to apples. What are they using for their HVAC system? What kind of windows are they putting in your house? What kind of insulation are they putting in your house? Because a lot of times a customer doesn't have all that information. They call in, they get a number over the phone, and they either like it or they don't like it, and they don't ask the questions. They don't even know what they're getting. They just got a price on an 1,800 square foot house or a 1,600 square foot shop, didn't ask what was included in those. So I think before people rule us out because of a price gap from another builder, they just need to make sure that they're actually getting a price on the same thing from project to project or builder to builder.
Right. And I feel like a lot of our calls that we give, there's just such a big gap on the front end before they come in, and we validate each other as a customer versus a builder, and see if we both want to go forward with each other. Is that there's a lot of bad knowledge on like Barndo pages and Facebook and stuff like that. You're hearing people build their own stuff and they're giving square foot numbers on what it costs them. And, they're builders got to make money,
right.
And I wouldn't leave it up to a guy or a person that's building their own project to actually keep up with every dollar and cents like a builder would. I think they would just are flinging numbers around on what they remember.
Right.
So I think having that up front though is there's those big gaps is trying to figure out is these people, we get a lot of calls, but figuring out if they're even realistic to the market, if they've been talking to other people, or if they just on Facebook pick up a phone wanted this and they had no idea what these things even cost. And then they're mad because, that's nowhere near what I thought it would cost.
I think one thing that really sets us apart from other people is the fact that we spend as much time on that front end process of our projects. I think initially, people's first question, well, how long is it going to take? What's y'all's lead time? Well, once the project's funded, this is our lead time. But I try to be as upfront with customers as I can on, hey, our front end process does take a little bit longer. So if you're trying to sign a contract by the end of this week, that's probably not going to happen, because we want to figure out every aspect of your build. We want to get out on the property. We want to know what finishes you're picking. We want to know how many overhead doors, what your trim style is, and we want to get hard bids on it. That way we know realistically what your project's going to cost, and then we can lock you in on that price at that point in time. And I think a lot of people sometimes don't appreciate that front end process, and maybe they're not our customers that won't appreciate that front end process, but if they take the time and let us take the time through those steps to make sure we get everything, I don't think they understand truly how easy their build process is going to be throughout the rest once they sign a contract. 100%. For me personally, I would think once I sign a contract and have agreed to a certain amount of money, I don't want to have to be called and asked questions. Hey, what paint color did you want here? Hey, I didn't think about this, but what are you wanting in this space? I would want to know everything at that point, just so I can enjoy the build process and watch things as they go throughout the build.
Right, and we do that in every division of the company, from the farm and ranch to the barn dominiums, the residential, and the commercial side. We have the same process. They cross over to every different division. We have that process because that way we keep good customers that are happy at the end. They're not frustrated because the bill went over dollars of money, and and we never flex from that process. There's people coming on, Colt, Mr. Tasmanian Devil come there, he's got something sold ready to go, but they want to skip the whole design process, of a farm and ranch project or whatever. And it's like, no, we got to go through this, because if we don't, in the end, it's going to just create a lot of chaos, because even the guys out in the field are trained through that process. This is how this works. So I feel like it gets us miles ahead of everybody else and gives everybody realistic numbers. Check us out on Facebook and the Gram, Burning Hot on 7018.